Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tomasz, and in today's video we're going to talk about the speed comparison between storing the cell color property methods. Let's start with the short recap of the methods I showed you in the last video. I was presenting you two methods, or better to call it workarounds, of how to store the cell color property using the arrays. The first method was using the 3D array with two values in that third dimension. The first was standing for the cell values, and the second one in that third dimension was standing for the color property. And the second workaround was using two same-sized arrays, two-dimensional arrays, and the first one was responsible for the cell values and the second one was responsible for that color property. And now maybe let's go to the prepared workbook, and here maybe let's begin with the code using which I prepared the example data in this workbook. This is the code. It is almost the same code I used in the workbook in the last video, but here I don't want a color. Maybe let's set it for the blank. So this code is filling the cells with the random values from 1 to 9, and I filled the 200,000 rows with the random data in 10 columns. So okay, let's go to the first first test code, which will be looping in the standard Excel table, and it is checking if the cell value is divisible by 2. If yes, set the color index 3. If not, set the color index 4. So double loop the conditional function, and that's all, and the timer. And I checked that for the 20 rows, 200, 2000, 20,000 and 200,000 rows, and all the results stored in the table, and the results are here. Here we can see that it's really fast for the small amount of data. It's a little bit above 1 second for 2000 rows, and coming to the 200,000 rows, it's about 110 seconds. Now let's go to the first workaround, which is using that 3D array, and here we can see 3 loops. The first one is just creating that 3D array with the values in the first value of that third dimension. And here's the difference between the code which I'm using now and the code from the article I wrote and which you saw at the beginning of this video. There I compared the standard Excel table approach with the code which I'm showing you now, but in the first loop I was also taking into the creation of that 3D loop the color index, which I think it's not necessary, especially for this example. So we are only taking the values to create that 3D array, and then the second double loop, which is checking the cell values, and the last double loop, which is filling the cells with the color. And let's go to the results. As you can see, the time results are really similar to the previous ones. Here we can see that for 200,000 rows, it's about 5 seconds less than in the Excel table approach, and the rest of the results are really similar, but it's a little bit faster method than standard Excel. And why this 3D array approach is faster than the standard Excel table approach, and why this is different than what I described in the article. This line was slowing down the code, and that's why in the article the comparison won the standard Excel table approach. But I think that this is not necessary for the beginning, for the creation of the 3D array. That's why I commented it out from the code and made this time comparison. And as you can see, it's a little bit faster than the first test for the Excel table. And now let's go to the second and the last workaround. This is the code where I have two same-sized 2D arrays. The first one for values and the second one for the color. And here we got the simpler code because the creation of the first array looks like this. We only need one code line for this, and then the conditional for the values and creation of the second array. And the last double loop, rewriting those colors into the cells. And let's go to the results. Okay, and here we got the results for the two arrays approach. The time results are really close to the previous tests. But you can see for the last row, for the 200,000 rows attempt, you can see that the time result it's about 13 seconds less than in the previous tests. And to sum up those tests, let's put all the results in the one table. So here we got all the results in one table, and we can clearly see that there is a workaround which allows us to store that cell color property using the arrays, and this is the second workaround where I used two same-sized arrays. Excluding this line, which was storing also the color index during the creation of the array, we achieved the code using the 3D array, which is a little bit faster than standard approach, almost 5 seconds faster. But using that second workaround, we can achieve almost 13 seconds less than standard table approach. So maybe let me show you also this, just a simple equation which is telling us that two arrays method is 11% faster than the standard approach. So if you got small amount of data, there is no difference between those methods. As you can see, the first, let's call it significant difference, is here for the 20,000 rows, and also remember that there was only 10 columns. But in general, if you got small amount of data, there is no difference between those methods. So you can use this one which is the most convenient for you. But in case of big amount of data, you can see that there is a difference. And if you have to work only on values, always use arrays. It's much faster than operating on the standard Excel table, which I was talking about in one of my videos. But in case you need to operate also on one of the cell property, you can see that there is a workaround which is basing on arrays and is, what is most important, faster than standard Excel table approach. So that was all. I hope you like it and enjoyed it, and it will be useful in your codes and in your macros. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I promised you that video in the last video, so here it is. Please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Also, I invite you to my website, simpleexcelvba.com. And once again, thank you and see you in the next video.